done for settlement of this issue?
Well, I've also heard and seen some executism towards new peace accords and new peace agreements, because as you mentioned, all of them have failed. The most recent probably being the Annapolis
Yes.
agreement, and the same thing, due to mostly to the attitude of the Israeli government that they are not complying with the agreements. It's not going forward. I wouldn't be able to foresee what kind of formal agreement they reach, but just the willingness of sitting down and speak together is one. Again, a very essential part of this possible future will be how the Palestinian groups get together, because that's been very much used by Israel as a factor of division. Since the own Palestinians don't agree on how to follow, Hamas hasn't recognized the state of Israel yet, and that's a major point. That won't help for the future, but there are slight signs that they all want to cut off those differences and start talking again.
Well, Cristina, exactly the point which you made, I was about to refer, because first we were discussing what the Tel Aviv government has been doing in the past and is doing now. Now, the next question is regarding not only there is conflict between various factions of Palestinian like Hamas and Al-Fatah led by Mahmoud Abbas, but the general attitude of the Arabs towards this problem, towards solution of this problem. We have not seen any enthusiasm from various Arab countries, even the neighbors of Palestine and Israel. So what exactly is the reason why it's said that pan-Arabism is no more, like it was published 30 years ago, one article it's quoted in Foreign Policy, that pan-Arabism is now dead. Now, what do you think? What's exactly the reason why Arabs are not interested in solving this problem?
I could think that they are very interested in solving this problem, but again, there have been new facts that have really divided the Arab world. One being, for instance, the continuous support of Iran to groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, and the division between Shiites and Sunnis, for instance, in the Arab world has been important in political terms sometimes. But again, this following of Iran's interest on the one side and their confrontation towards Israel, I think has helped it to divide the Arab world, all linked to the access to oil, because at the end, Iran is a very important player in the field of oil in the world, and countries like Egypt have other kind of interests and have other kind of government. So yes, I think there is this division, political, religious, sociological division in the Arab countries that have complicated their pan-union and their acting together.
Well, Cristina, when the war of 67, Israel occupied many territories. After a few decades, you know that with Libya, with Syria, and with Egypt, and with Lebanon, Israel has returned many occupied places. But exactly the places which is homeland of the Palestinians, like in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. So when we see that those areas are still, their fate is undecided, and we haven't seen any progress, only diplomatic and lip service to the issue. So can we construe from these facts that the Arab world is not sincere with the plight of Palestinians?
I think more than not being sincere, they are searching their own interest. Syria, for example, with the President Assad, has been shifting a little bit, has been more friendly towards the West than they were before, because they are right in the middle. They can play a very important role between West and East, and they know that. And that means that they cannot be all the time fighting with Israel or fighting with other Arab countries. The same with Lebanon. After the war, a couple of summer '06, they realized that fighting Israel is not, again, a very good thing, that they are fighting against their own interests. So it's it's a very complex conflict which has many implications in different parts of the world. Again, I mentioned the oil again because I think it's a very important matter there. And both Lebanon, Syria are in the Turkey also are in that crossroads that is essential for the links between West and East, and probably defending the interests of the Palestinians after almost 50 years is not in the highest rank in their priorities. Of course, they are interested in solving the conflict. They would support the Palestinian group, but their own interests are first.
Oh, well, in Israeli press, it said that when various countries, neighbor countries of Israel, like Egypt and Syria and Jordan, they used to occupy many territories which were reoccupied by Israel in 1967 war. So from 48 to 67, there is a phase when West Bank, Golan Heights, or Gaza Strip, they were under the occupation of neighbor countries, Muslim countries.
Yes.
In the Israeli press, this point is made that in that era, when it was under the occupation of Arab countries, why a Palestinian state was not created? Do you think that this point is valid?
There is a point there. In fact, the first UN resolution that gave way to the creation of the State of Israel also considered the creation of the state of a Palestinian state.
Yes.
And the Palestinians completely rejected. And that has been the base for the war since then, because they never admitted the creation, they then didn't admit the creation of an Israel, a Jewish state in their territory, because they considered that was their territory, because they had been living there for centuries. And
yes.
in that sense, they were right. The international community was trying to mend an awful suffering for the Jewish people for many decades and also centuries. And they thought that in that way they could reach a commitment and take into consideration that diaspora of a whole people through centuries. I think we are getting to that point where most Palestinians admit now the creation of a Palestinian state together with the existence of the State of Israel. But I would also say that most people in Israel also support the creation of a Palestinian state. And probably there are many important issues there, but probably a bit of cosmetic things, that the admittance of the existence of Israel on the side of Hamas could help a lot.
Do you think the two-state solution for Middle East is workable, or you think that Israel will come to terms and will accept a sovereign Palestinian state in its neighborhood?
I think they will. I think they have already admitted that. But they have to be willing to make it feasible, because they could have a Palestinian state, but then Israel has to permit people to move around. Right now, there are several places ruled by Palestinians which cannot be reached just because there are so many controls by the Israeli police. The Palestinian people in Gaza cannot move out. People in the West Bank cannot move easily because of the wall and because of all the controls in the frontier. So unless Israel starts also thinking about how that Palestinian state can be feasible, it won't be real. I think in theoretical terms, in political terms, they have admitted. And